doesn't get any more authentic than this. Welcome to the Voiceover Gurus podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. I'm Linda Bruno, and now we're going to get down to business with what we're going to discuss today. I know I focus on performance, and actually the last two podcast episodes were all on technical stuff. Now we're going to shift gears into email marketing, and I want to welcome to the show Jonathon Grant. How are you?
I'm well. Hi, Linda. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you. So you are the founder of Legit Voices, but Legit Voices takes care of two platforms that you have created, VO Inbox and VO Leads.
Correct. Yep. One is a full service platform and the other is a self-service platform.
Okay. So first off, you were telling me a little bit about your background. Just quickly give us all that information again.
Okay, let's do that. So I'm a little shy. So I've been a senior executive for 35 years, and I've worked for companies, both private equity and publicly traded companies. And for 25 of the last 35 years, I've been a serial entrepreneur, building platforms, whether it's a job site, weather site, a dating site, and now VO Inbox and VO Leads, building platforms that connect people to opportunity. And that's been my focus for the last 25 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what, you suddenly wanted to just do voiceover?
Yeah. Like a lot of people, the pandemic came along, and I always had a passion for voiceover.
Yeah.
And I finally found this quiet moment, where I could actually do something for myself instead of driving businesses constantly. Mm-hmm. And wow, what great fun, to finally be able to get into it and get coaching and move forward on that career path. And did pretty well and was doing well on the platforms until I reached kind of this point where I had kind of maxed out, because you really have to rise above all the noise, right?
Right.
That's there. And then you're confronted with the best of the best in the industry.
Right.
So I made the decision that I had to begin marketing myself.
Okay. Yeah.
And built some, I'm a developer by trade. So I ended up building my own platforms, my own crawlers and bots to run out and find information, and then my own mailing program. And then that eventually turned into these other platforms.
Okay. So you basically started it for your own purposes as a voiceover actor. Okay.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah. It was interesting. I looked at some things in the industry. I didn't think, as I normally would, I look for solutions instead of industry specific solutions. Mm-hmm. Marketing is marketing is marketing is marketing.
Right.
It doesn't really matter the source of your inspiration or your training. And I looked at a few things. I looked at CRMs, and man, they're way over engineered, or they're missing what I want. They're never tailored to our industry. And I decided that was the inspiration to just build my own, and source my own leads. And I ran into a company or two who, they were a little shady. I'm like, I felt like they weren't doing justice for the voice talent, and decided the first platform was VO Leads. And I decided, well, I'm going to open up the lead source then to community. And then over time, the pro level folks were constantly knocking on my door. Can you just do this for us? Can you find the leads? Can you send the mail? Can you manage the follow-ups? And then that's what led to VO Inbox. So that's how we ended up with two different platforms. So one is a self-service. You can go in and search for leads. That's the VO Leads platform. But VO Inbox is white glove, concierge level service, where we do everything for you, except write your templates.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll go through that process. But I know with students, whenever we ask and say, what part of the voiceover industry do you loathe the most? And it's always, marketing and emailing and finding clients. It's what everybody dreads doing. So this is, when you can find a good solution that's easy, 5 stars. So let's talk about that then. So your VO Inbox is the white glove service, the VO Leads. So let's start with the VO Leads.
Okay.
And how that came about and what that is about too.
Yeah. So VO Leads is, at its core, it's a list provider. And what we have done to make it easier for the voice talent is we've already done the pre-searching, looking for evidence that they actually hire voiceover. And, it's not perfect. And I think anybody who stands up and says, my list is the best and my stuff is perfect, they're not being honest with you. Mm-hmm. So in this scenario, it's a credit system. So when you set up your account there, everybody gets 10 free credits, and 1 credit equals 1 lead. So you're trading credits for leads.
Okay.
And what we let you do is search the database yourself and find leads that you want to unlock. You pick them yourself. Okay. And we let you go out to their website, make sure there's evidence that they hire Voiceover, and then you trade a credit for that lead. You can also bulk unload, and you can create a short list and unlock them all at once. So we've given you a bunch of different tools there, to help you unlock that. And that's the most back of the napkin sketch that I can give you of it. There's a lot to the site.
So how many leads are listed there about?
There are about 12,000 now. We have another 7,000 in the pipe, and we've identified 34,000 additional leads that we're going after.
Oh my goodness.
And we vet them. It takes a long time, and we're doing the dirty work. This is something that just doesn't exist for the community. Where at a minimum, we're doing, you can call it the 30,000 foot view, where we're gathering likely VO buyers. And at VO leads, then you can dig through and find your target.
What is that process for you of finding those leads?
So a lot of tech. I write the code of being a developer. I own the server. I own the databases. I own 9 mail servers now.
Wow.
We're going to be expanding to 12 soon, very soon. And the process is algorithms and software. So there's no AI involved. It's literally crawling. We use the same criteria that you might. And I think that's the important thing for people to remember when you're sourcing leads. If you think you're going to go buy a list somewhere, or if you think you're going to spend your time on Google or elsewhere searching for leads, that's literally what we're doing, but at a massive scale. It's automated, but we still have to vet all of those.
Right.
So it takes time. So really, if you were to look to VO leads or VO inbox, it's the time component. We're essentially saving you that first big step, because you may spend an hour to find 1 lead, right? You're out there digging.
Yeah.
That's the pain in the butt, right? Because finding your leads sucks, and we make that better. So the idea is you're out there digging for leads, right? And you could spend an hour and you go to their website and you're trying to find their social media links and things like that, and a website. You've done this great work, and you've managed somehow over a few days to get 10 or 25 of those. Then you email them, and 60% or more bounce.
Right.
And so then, if you had 25 and you lose 18 of those, and then you're looking, I only have a Gmail, or I only have an info at, or I only have this information, and that bounced. So you get rid of it because you don't have any other access to this email address, right? So that might be a good company. They might be hiring Voiceover, but because you can't find a contact, or you hit their contact us or their info and then just get booted to spam, you're done. So that's the part of it that's horrible, and that's the part that we try to fix. So in our database, 100% of the leads, we have the company name, city, state, zip, their time zone that the company is in. And a lot of these folks are also remote. So the worker, the person, the contact that you're trying to get a hold of, we have their first name, last name, city, state, zip, business email address for 100% of them, their LinkedIn profile for 100% of them, the business LinkedIn for most of them. I can't say that anymore because some we have a hard time finding. They might not have one. But then also other business social media. So if we have their website, they might have a Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever we can find. And we provide that to you. So there's up to 15 data points that we get for you. But if you think about that, so our bottom tier, I think it's like 80 cents for a lead with up to 15 data points. But if you're on our top tier, it gets all the way down. I think it's 54 cents or 57 cents a lead, one person for 50. What's that worth?
Wow.
To find that lead. And, it makes good sense because of the time savings. Would you rather take your time and spend that on your craft and training with you folks, or building out your website, learning how to build out your website, learning how to maintain your website, practicing, auditioning? Or would you rather be digging around in Google and Bing and, trash bins to find leads that often go nowhere? And that's just the reality of it. It's hard. It's always been hard. And it's also, one of the components that's hard. I'd like to back up to something that you said, if it's okay. You talked about these people that the hardest, the most horrible thing is the direct email marketing. And I haven't really started because of A, B, and C and all that. But the one reason that they're not telling you, which it happens to be the truth, they don't want to be rejected. You know,
Yeah, good
yeah,
point.
it's just work to find the
Yeah.
leads. But then you send that out into the ether,
Yeah.
and you either it's crickets or stop sending me this or
Yeah.
we don't do voiceover. It's that part of it. There's a big psychological impact to that. And
Right.
we kind of remove that because we give you access to so many leads and so many opportunities to reach out and make that new introduction, that new connection, that pretty soon you don't worry about that anymore because you've got volume that you're working with. So we kind of
Interesting.
remove the biggest part, which is the work. And now you just work on your message and send them out.
Mm-hmm. So
So,
yeah, right. So with VO leads, like you said, that's a more of a self-service
mhm,
process. You have access to all these leads, I guess, depending on how many credits you purchase.
right.
Okay. So where does that start as far as pricing goes? What's your minimum,
The
for
minimum
someone?
you can do a one-time purchase or you can get into a monthly subscription. And there's more, there's the volume goes up if you're on a subscription. That's the only thing that really changes. But all of our subscriptions are month to month. You can cancel anytime.
Good.
The lowest package is $50 for either a one-time purchase. I think that gives you 86 or 89 leads. And then the top end is $300, which is hundreds of leads,
Mm-hmm.
So, and what we do is we let you, there's a slider when you make you can create your own subscription. You can slide it back and forth and it's in I think it's in $5 or $10 increments. I
Oh,
can't remember
wow.
which one we decided on. It's an old detail. It's 18 months behind me when that was decided. Yeah. We let you actually craft your own subscription and it's month to month.
Mm-hmm.
And you
You
don't
could
even have to
change
use it.
each month? Like you could
Sorry.
do 300, you do the $300 package one month and then decide you only need
Yeah. Yeah.
50 leads
And
the
we have
next
folks
month?
that come in and they'll buy a package that, let's say, it gives them 200 leads or 200 credits. Okay. And
Right.
they're going to trade those and search. And then summer comes along or they get into the doldrums and they're like, man, I really need to push. And they can come back and they can, even if they have a $50 per month subscription, you can always do a one time for a boost, if you want to get
Okay,
more.
cool.
So
Mm-hmm.
we've tried to design this in
Flexible.
a way that we can accommodate any scenario that you might have.
Yeah, the flexibility is important, especially with
Upgrade,
budgets
downgrade,
and
out,
yeah.
and VO Inbox is the same way. Yeah.
So, okay, so the self-serve now, let's move to the white glove service of VO Inbox and tell
Yeah,
me
the
how that
boss,
works.
the
Yeah.
big guns. So VO Inbox came about, as I mentioned before, because pro level talent, they're busy, and they either have a job and they're doing voiceover, or they're so busy in voiceover they don't have time to do the
Right.
research, find the leads, and do the mail. So I designed this system so that literally we give you more time on the mic and less time in your inbox because we do everything. We source the leads for you. We add the leads to your campaign. We manage the email process for you. We send the first email and up to 4 other messages. So you can touch one lead in 12 months 5 times. So the follow-ups are going out as well.
Okay, gotcha.
And then depending on your subscription level, for every touch that you have with one of those, it's either 3, 4, or 5 times you're going to touch that lead in 12 months. We give you a separate template. So you've heard of email sequence, right?
Right.
That's all that is we have a
Mhm.
different template that you can say, so the first one is, hi, I'm Becky Sue. I'm a full-time voice talent hoping to connect or what have you. And the next time, hey, just reaching out again, and, so you can personalize it somewhat too. You can say hi to their first name. You can add their company name into the body of your message. It's not the deep personalization that you can get with the one-off email, which you can do at VO Leads, because this is at scale.
Mhm.
So you could end up sending on our top tier plan, which has limited seating per plan, by the way, per tier. On our top tier plan, you could literally grow that to sending 2,000 emails a month,
Oh my goodness.
with your follow-ups and your new stuff.
Yeah.
So, but the one that folks seem to be gravitating towards is the middle tier. And I'll show you, I'll share my screen if you like and show you what that looks like.
Sure.
But that's the advanced plan. And that ends up with 100 brand new leads added to your campaign every month. And then by month 11, that campaign is sending 500 emails a month.
Okay. Wow.
Consistently and steady. And a big difference between VO Leads and VO Inbox is not just the fact that we do everything at VO Inbox, is that VO Leads, when we're testing our data, because we don't publish anything that hasn't been delivered. So when we're testing our data, it bounces at about 4.8%.
Okay.
In our testing. So we give you, no matter what package you pick, we're going to give you an extra 5% and share that. And that's on leads that we already know are deliverable. So it's not
Okay.
like we're trying to cover, that 4.8%. So we eat that. We publish only what is deliverable. And then we give you an additional 5% because we know things bounce. People leave, people change industries but
that's
that
nice.
5% covers bounces there. But at VO Inbox, we replace 100% of bounces for every campaign, no matter what your subscription level is.
Oh, wow.
We've got you. So if you, it's even better. Let's say 10 people across the entire system might have a shared lead somewhere in their sequence. And that can happen. In fact, I see it happen at least once a week. So if you have the lead in your campaign and it bounces, we cancel that lead for every single campaign in the system and credit every single one of those folks for that same lead. And then we turn it off over at VO Inbox or at VO Leads as well. So that it doesn't show up and people aren't wasting time with that one because it's no good.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So now the job of the voice talent, like you said, was creating the templates, the touch points.
Right.
And you're saying how many? It's like 5?
Up to 5.
Up to 5.
So you would have on the starter plan, you would have 3 contacts, 3 emails in your sequence. And then the advanced plan has 4. And then the professional plan has 5.
Okay. So are they all created at the same time and set up?
Preferably. We prefer
But
that.
now here's a question. So say I got lucky and my first email went out and the client responded and said, yeah, we're going to add to our roster. We have a job for you right now. How do I how do I keep up with, the other emails not going out?
You don't have to keep up with it. It's automated.
Okay. So you guys know it.
Right. Yeah. Well, so what happens in the email, the number one thing here is we want to protect your working email address. Okay. You don't want to be marked as a spammer. So we provide email accounts to send out from for your campaign. And we manage those. You don't have to touch them. It's your name, Linda Bruno it could be legitvoices.com, legitvo.com, voleaders.com, anything that makes us look professional.
Okay.
But then when the replies come in, they skip through those accounts and out to your work email address.
Okay.
That way we see that there was a reply. You can turn off that lead. The things that can turn off a lead are a reply, a bounce, an unsubscribe, or if they have finished the sequence. And that will turn that lead off. You still have the data, and we give you the raw data, and I'll be happy to show that to you. So we give you access to all of the data for your campaign, also at VO Leads. You can download all 15 data points.
What is the frequency, do you think? Follow up and checking in? And
so we have a balanced system, and there are a lot of different opinions on this, but the best way for us to balance this is we call it day 0. So the first email goes out, and then a 30-day follow-up, and then a 90-90-90 if you're on the pro plan.
Okay.
So that covers 12 months. You've emailed somebody that you don't know to tell them about your business 5 times in a 12-month period. That's a lot. That's plenty.
Yeah.
There are people that are like, well, they teach these courses. Send out your first email. Next week, send them another email. And then the third week, send them a breakup email. Well, I guess you're not using Voiceover. See you later. And some guy told me that he was taught that, right? I can't divulge names, but it was a voice talent, pro voice talent. And he said, I did that. And they got mad at me. They were like, you realize I was out on location shooting TV commercials, right? And I couldn't, you gave me 3 weeks.
I'm out, sitting by waiting for your email.
Yeah. So this isn't guerrilla marketing. You're not trying to book a job. You're trying to get introduced to a likely VO buyer and build a relationship over time.
Exactly.
And that's the important thing. So to answer your question specifically, it's to balance the system. It's to make sure that, number one, we're not aggravating the production houses and the studios, to make sure that we are sending enough that you remain top of mind. You're reminding them 5 times in a year. That's good. And then we also have to balance all the campaigns.
So what do you think is a mistake that some voiceover talent have done in regards to email marketing on their own?
Yeah, there are a lot. Let's prioritize those. I would say the biggest mistake is not getting started. And then the work mistakes start. At that point, the mistakes in how we're doing it. If you think you're going to blast out, I got this list, it's 100 people, send, you load that into Nimble or Zoho or something, and you just blast that out there, right? Your email address is going to be blocked as a spammer. Number one, you need to understand how to market a business, any business. This is not unique to VoiceOver at all.
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand that January or February 2024, the rules changed, for Gmail and these platforms and how they're tracking spam.
Ah,
You don't want to appear as a spammer. For instance, my job site can send up to 16,000 emails a minute.
oh my God.
That's 25 years old and it's doing great.
Wow.
So that's job matching and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So with us, with a job, let's keep it focused on what we're doing here. You're a small business entrepreneur. You have to market your business. It's not something you try. It's something that you have to
Right.
do. You do this. So what you want to do, especially when you're starting out, is you do want to try out the one-off. You do want to send, customized emails. You do want to go to their website and learn about them. And maybe you see, hey, wow, great job on that Chevy ad. That was amazing. I also do voiceover for automotive. Here's where you can hear my demos.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, that's a good place to start. So get started. Don't think you're just going to blast all of it out there. Trickle it out there. Start with your one-off stuff. Work your way up to 25 a day. That you might be sending off one at a time. That's one, I think, one of the critical mistakes. And I've heard it on podcasts recently where they're like, oh, I was in email jail for 2 weeks because of that.
Right.
We've got allergies over here, something fierce.
Where are you located? Where
I'm
are
in
you?
Michigan.
Oh, okay.
We're in the heat too.
Oh,
So we're
okay,
dealing with
good.
the heat and the allergies. So excuse me.
No problem.
So yeah, that's a mistake. There are other mistakes. If I had to pick them in order, I would say writing a book. Writing a novel to somebody and, here's Gone with the Wind about how I do voiceover.
Yeah.
Read that. They're not.
Yeah.
Typically we tell our folks, here you need some simple bullet points. Hi, here's who I am. Here's why I'm reaching out. Here's where you can hear what I do. I hope you guys crush it this week. See ya. Get out of there.
Yeah.
And there's truth to both models. Your one-off takes a little more time because you're doing it yourself. But when you're trying to scale direct email marketing, you don't want to waste people's time.
Right.
And our click-through rate to people's websites is phenomenal.
Really?
Oh, well, yeah. And it's interesting because we have noticed a trend over the last, I want to say 8 months or so. Yeah, it'd be about 8 months now, where the replies have trickled off, but the click-throughs to websites has skyrocketed.
Oh,
And
interesting.
what we think is happening is, you have everybody and their brother teaching people to do their direct email marketing, right?
Right.
And they all have their different methods. And I think these poor folks at these production houses are getting flooded.
Yeah.
With
I believe it.
It doesn't make it bad because that's literally their job. We've had people thank us for reaching out and for keeping it short and sweet. So, I think what's happening now is they're looking at your website. And so what does that tell you? When you see a click on your campaign, whether we're doing it or you're hosting it through your CRM, the right person got the email. They read it.
Mm-hmm.
They clicked through to your website. They obviously listened to your demos.
Mm-hmm.
That's important.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a win as far as we're concerned. And then when you do get the reply, hey, we listened to your stuff. Great stuff. We added you to our roster. I also looped in our production editor. You're like, wow,
that's a dream.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you're dancing around and clapping and maybe cry a little bit because somebody took the time to reply,
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is my first 3 jobs that I did this year were from people I had never heard back from, didn't know who they were. And I got 3 scripts back to back the same week, and they were all from emails from last February. I am digging in the database. I'm like, who are these people?
There you go. Yep.
And it was from an email 12 months before.
Yeah.
And sometimes it could be 2 years. Hey, we didn't have anything. We finally have something that matches that voice of yours. And like for me, it's like, we have a children's hospital spot, something like that, or take care of grandma, so I end up doing a lot of work like that.
Yeah.
And those are farther and fewer between, but I'm planting seeds so that as I go, and that's another mistake that people make. Direct email marketing, man, it's the most aggravating thing you'll ever do. It is. It's hard. And the hard part is, for instance, our VO Inbox folks, I'm like, I'm going to get them all discount meds because what they do is they're watching their campaign nonstop for every little tweak and change. And somebody opened it, somebody clicked it. It'll drive you crazy.
Obsessive.
You're planting seeds. It's a long game. You'll send more email than you ever thought for much longer than you ever anticipated. I mean, that's just the way it works.
Right.
And it's interesting. I was talking to a guy yesterday who is signing up today, but he was talking about how the marketing is a web. It's not just a wheel with spokes. It's this web, right? And you're doing your different things. You're obviously doing your auditions. You have your website. You're doing your direct email marketing. You might be connecting with folks on LinkedIn, and we'll give you the link to all these folks too for that. That creates a web. And eventually somebody's like, I wish that I had a deep, gruff voice for this. And somebody goes, hey, I've got one of those. Let me dig in. Yeah, this guy. They don't remember when I've had people reply to my first email, actually respond to that. And I look at the date of the original email. I'm like, 2 years.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. That's the very nature of cold email. That's the very nature of marketing. You're building your brand and you're putting it in front of people. And then you touch it every once in a while and remind them and keep yourself, front of mind, but you're not annoying. So it's this balancing trick, right? So you have to build that web, and it's an overused example, but the funnel, you have to pour a lot in the top to get a little bit out of the bottom. That's exactly what's going on. It sucks. We make it easier.
But it's in my experience too, sometimes I will have someone reach out to me and say, oh, Bob Smith recommended you. So of course I go searching into my thing and I'm like, I can't find a Bob Smith anywhere. So obviously Bob Smith heard me in some way, shape, or form.
That's the web.
And they recommended, and because that happens a lot. Or like you're saying, it'll be 2 years. I would have sent something and then all of a sudden they respond. So I try to tell students, don't get discouraged. Just get in the game,
Right. That's exactly right. And that's from the first thing I said is like, get started.
Yeah.
Have to get started. And you need to be consistent. And if you struggle with ADHD or you're inconsistent, start building a habit where, with my coffee in the morning, I'm going to send cold emails.
Wow.
And after I finish that cup of coffee, I'm done with that. I'm done with coffee. I'm done with that. So associate it with behaviors, different things in your existing schedule, your existing routine. Add this on to that, so that becomes the trigger to remind you to do it each time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So
do you think there's a limited time that somebody should focus on that before their brain starts to fry? You know what I mean?
Yes and no. And here's the thing: by the time you're an expert at it, it won't bother you how much time you spend on it because you know how to get the results. You know what you're doing. In the beginning, I would not do it at the expense of other things that need to be done.
Yeah.
You still need to live your life, take care of your kids. You might have a pay job. You still have to get your auditions out, especially if you're on the platforms. You still need to keep up with that. If you're represented, you still need to do those auditions. So work always comes first, and then marketing to work comes second. And nothing should get in the way of that.
Right.
Because that's literally, so I want to touch on that for 1 second. This is the hardest thing. And it's probably exactly what you teach your students is you are the CEO. Yeah. You're also the audio engineer. You're also the marketing person. You're also the cleaner, the janitor, the plumber.
Yes.
You're all of these things. And for virtually everybody who's ever gotten into voiceover, you're the boss. It might be the first time you've ever been the boss, and that's okay.
Right.
It's a big adjustment. But the most important thing for folks to remember in that regard is that pass or fail is on you.
Yeah.
You can't blame anyone else. There's no one else. So that's why courses like yours and services like mine exist. These are aids, and you better do your due diligence when you're hiring services and when you're going to coaching and that. But it's your decision. It's on you as the worker bee.
Right.
So nobody's going to market your business.
Right.
That's on you. Nobody's going to promote you. That's on you. You will get the odd referral. How often, in honesty, how often does that really happen?
Right.
Right. So it's on you. And it's hard.
Right.
You have to figure out how you're going to prioritize your time, where you're going to start in that. And there are plenty of people that can help you with that.
Yeah. So, you've developed this whole thing. So this isn't your normal email marketing process. This is something that's got a lot of back end and some, you had shown me some really cool features when you and I had chatted of what talent have access to, even at the base level of, I don't know if it was with your VO leads or the VO inbox where there's like.
VO leads has a ton of features.
Yeah.
That are built in. We have some free business tracking tools in there, and it's basic stuff. If you want something more extensive with billing and that, I would suggest like Voiceover View with Danny States. She's got a really cool system over there.
I like her.
We give you basic tools. You can track your bookings. You can track your auditions. You can keep track of companies and contacts, and whether that's a lead, a prospect, or a client. So it's a basic toolkit.
That's
And
cool.
inside of that toolkit is the ability to actually have clickable links for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Click out to somebody's LinkedIn profile and connect with them as well. And what we're telling folks at VO Inbox is, if you see that somebody has clicked out to your website, that right there should trigger you to connect with them on LinkedIn.
Ah,
Not immediately, like, ooh, he's watching. You don't
right.
want to be creepy. But tomorrow,
Stalking.
tomorrow, send a LinkedIn connection and just say, hey, I'm a voice talent hoping to connect with your company. Are you guys accepting auditions or demos or whatever? You word it however you
Sure.
want, because it has to sound like you. And then cut it short, because they're not going to read your book.
Right. So the templates that we create for VO Inbox, you can create a very nice, customized, personable email.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to seem like it's coming from some sort of,
Right. And it comes in your name. That's
Right.
literally, that email address is in your name. So here, an example of a template would be, and we don't provide templates because we don't believe in that. I can't stand the cookie cutter approach. You have to draft your first template. We're happy to look at it, check it for grammar, check it for spelling. We'll help you before it's launched, especially with a copy and paste. Sometimes there's weird characters in that.
Right.
Clean it all up for you. If we make changes if necessary and get your approval, because we want it to sound like you, but we want it to sound like the best possible you. Just like in coaching, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. So a good template might be, we have what are called variables that you can add in. So you can add their first name into your greeting. So you can be like, hi, Becky Sue. I'm a full-time voice talent hoping to connect with ABC Company. And we let you put their company name in there as well. I work from a professional home studio. While most of my work is in television and radio, I also do corporate narration, safety recordings, or, you can have all kinds of different things that you do, every genre, that you could possibly have. You can put in there, listen, I hope you guys have a great week. Jonathon Grant. I don't put my email address because they just got it.
Right.
Jonathon Grant, my cell phone number and my Source Connect ID, so they know I'm legit. And that's it. So it's short and sweet, because this is the thing that you're trying to scale. You're trying to get more volume, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to use that template for your first contact for everybody. And it's literally that easy. And again, there's the school of thought and there's truth in both. There's the school of thought where you write a much longer one and you have your fancy signature block with your headshot and all your social media links.
Yeah.
Guess what? That's going to get you flagged as a spammer.
That's what I was going to ask you, which, so many of us use WiseStamp, because it looks nice. It gives you all of the, click here for my commercial demo.
And it's huge and it's important, and that's great, but not for bulk email, not for cold email. It's because it starts flagging, and especially the way that the G Suite platform, which is Gmail and Google Workspaces, they're flagging that stuff as spam or possible spam, and it's going into junk. So
just based on that.
Oh, absolutely. Because think about, you're sending them, hi, you call them by name, but you might have, I've seen emojis in subject lines. I've seen the voice you didn't know you needed. I've seen all kinds of stuff like that. That voice sounds oddly familiar. I've seen cool stuff,
Yeah.
All of those things are spammy. It's just, just be smart. You know what my personal template is?
What?
I just read it to you. That's my template. The one I just gave you the example. And my subject line is voice talent.
Yeah.
That's it. And so here's where your fancy stuff comes in, and you want to keep that, right? So you get a reply from somebody. So you're using separate email to do your cold email outreach. You get a reply from someone. Now you're going to respond with your work email, with your fancy stuff. Because they replied to you, now you have a relationship, and the mail server sees that, and it can still be seen as spammy. But when you're trying to do things at bulk and you're reaching out to a lot of people, it's literally in our name, VO Inbox. You want to get in their inbox, and you want every opportunity to do that.
Right.
So if you look at that block, you have in the body, you have your link to your website, then you have your signature, then you have another link to your website, then you have a link to all these different profiles. Man, on a cold email to someone that's not expecting to hear from you, their spam flag is going to go ding.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we're crowding 60,000 messages. We're just finishing up month 7 of View Inbox.
Wow.
We're already crowding 60,000 messages sent. And our unsubscribes, 11.
What?
11 unsubscribes.
11 singular unsubscribes.
Yeah.
You're not talking about like 11%?
1, 10 plus 1, 12 minus 1, 11.
Holy crap.
But we've also had a ton of bounces.
Okay.
And the bounce rate went, and this is the other thing, is transparency with our systems and our platforms, which nobody's going to give you, is we were bouncing at a rate of 6% at the beginning of 2024. That accelerated to almost 8% in the summer, over the summer of July, August. And then by November, we were bouncing at 10%. And we tell everyone, we're bouncing at 10% right now. We're not shy about telling you that because it's not us. Just because Becky Sue went to a new production house or left the industry, we can't control that. Right. So what does that tell you? You look at, there's been a mass exodus from voiceover, right? We've seen it. Mm-hmm. And you see it because you see all their gear for sale on people who they thought they could do it and they weren't prepared. They didn't invest in the coaching and all that. And so they bail. Well, that's also happening in production houses. We've seen several of those close. We've seen some agencies close. It's not that voiceover is dying. It's that voiceover is evolving.
Right.
Because we were flooded during the pandemic with people.
Yep.
And the economy was doing pretty well and there was a lot of advertising and things were going great. So this is a normal cycle in any business.
Right.
And in any industry. So, but we share that information with you. This is happening. This is what That's we think great. Is the reason. And it's a transparency thing for us.
That's great. Now with VO Inbox, do you have any other changes coming up that might be exciting to look forward to?
We have some huge changes coming up. So we just had our biggest one. Excuse me 1 second.
Sinuses.
Gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I should
have taken
too.
More pills. No. I took half the bottle and this is what we got. So,
I know. Don't worry. It's the story of my life.
So we just had, there are milestones for VO Inbox and we just passed one. So at 6, we had a 6-month, we have a 9-month coming in 2 months from now, and then we'll have a 12-month milestone. And those trigger certain things. So the one that we just passed, which you don't know about, I'll tell you, is that at 6 months, we were stress testing the system and making sure that we could balance everything. And then we doubled everybody's leads in their subscriptions.
Oh, so nice little bonus there.
So you're 25 per month, 25 new leads. That's the entry level starter stuff is now 50. And then the advanced plan went from 50 to 100. And then the monster account, which we're only going to have 5 seats, by the way, and 3 are taken. But on the professional plan went from 100 leads per month to 200.
Wow.
Okay. So that's the one that's the big guns. And we give you a ton of resources to make sure that we can fulfill that for you. And so and we also added a step in the sequence for each of the starter and advanced plan. But that's the schedule and we didn't tell anybody. We just wanted to surprise you that,
that's cool.
Okay, we're there. Mm-hmm. Surprise, and they came in there so everybody's June sequence when we added leads in was double. Nobody complained. So,
I'm sure.
Great. And then we have, so that was the first milestone. It was at 6 months because we thought we could ramp up pretty quickly and we did. And then the next milestone that's coming, I will tell you about. We've released part of it already for testing. It's a new validation engine. So we're revalidating the deliverability of our email every 30 days. And as we fine tune this thing, it's our own software that we're building in-house right now. So we have a campaign engine. That's what's managing everybody's campaigns, written in-house. And then we also have a validation engine, which is almost done. And when we release the rest of those features, it's going to be super cool. And then we also have the bounce and reply engine. So all these 3 things are actually separate applications that make VO Inbox work.
Wow.
So the validation engine revalidates the deliverability of every single email address in the entire system, VO leads, VO Inbox, every existing campaign every 30 days. Right now, we released that. And what we decided to do is some of them look suspicious. So we got rid of them and replaced them in the campaign. So when our folks come in and let's say they're getting 100 per month and all of a sudden they see this weird 30 or 9 or 12 or whatever it was, it's because the validation engine was like, this is suspicious. Let's just get rid of it. and we gave you a new one. Gave you a replacement for it. And that's the way it works at VO Inbox. At VO Leads, we just tell you, well, this is shady. We don't know if it's deliverable or not. But again, transparency.
Wow. There's
That's
a
the
lot going
validation
on.
engine. And when that's fully released at 9 months, the validation engine will validate every email every 30 days and when it's added in real time as it's added to your campaign.
Wow.
So, and that's just important. And it's actually cut the bounce rate down significantly, because people leave the industry. It just happens.
Yeah.
And just by the nature of who we are, it's like we're exposed to them leaving, and it doesn't hurt us. It just informs how quickly we have to replenish our leads.
Gotcha.
So, and then we have 2 more things coming. We're going to be all of our VO Inbox folks sometime between month 9 and month 12 of operations, which is before the end of this year. Well, just after the end of this year. We're going to have a professional profile section created for each of our members on legitvoices.com.
Oh.
Folks will be able to contact you through there. They will be able to get to your website and your demos. So basically, we're going to give you free advertising for your VO business on legitvoices.com.
Okay.
For all subscription levels. We'll get that.
For VO Inbox.
As part of VO Inbox, yeah. So we're adding, if you notice a trend, what we've been doing is we're adding these features and services in layers and not raising our prices.
Oh, very nice.
So this is the price model that we're building toward. The first and most important thing is to get you out there and get you marketing, right? We need to get you in front of folks. So that was obviously the first focus. And then how do we do that better? And then how can we give you more services and features, without having to raise prices?
That's great.
So we've actually gotten to the hard part, of what we're building, because it's very complex.
Yeah, sounds like it. But that creates, some commitment from consumers too to stay with you because you are adding benefits and not
it's a value add,
taking advantage,
Right. Yep.
Which is what I believe in as well.
I wanted to touch on. I'm sorry. I wanted to touch on. I kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit that on the pro plan that we have a limit.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Please tell me about that.
Okay. So VO Inbox, and this is important. VO Inbox is currently capped at 100 seats for the entire system.
Total.
That's it.
Okay.
We're targeting top talent, which means that we have automatically excluded 2/3 of the market right there.
Oh, wow.
By saying we don't want to waste your money and your time, because your time and your treasure right now, if you're not ready to do direct email marketing, your time and treasure is best spent on coaching, your website, your recording space and all that. And we're not going to hurt your ability to do that by just taking your money and doing things that's not going to work for you because you're not ready.
Right. So what are your parameters when somebody...
So the parameters for both platforms, you have to have a website that's under your control, not a profile on a platform somewhere, a free profile. It has to be your website. You have to have pro-level, professionally produced demos on your website. Above the fold has to be the first thing, that people see are your demos. And if you don't make the cut, we're not saying no, we're just saying not yet. And we'll give you a link out, like, for instance, to your coaching or to a George Whittam or Uncle Roy for audio, whatever they need help with that kept them from being approved. VO Inbox is a little bit more under the magnifying glass as far as your performance in that, because we want to represent top shelf,
That's
professional
great.
quality people. Because I think what happens, it's this win-win approach, right? Where you win because you're saving a ton of time. You're not digging for leads and all that.
Right.
And you're not spending all the time managing your campaign. So there's one. The production houses win because we're not sending them folks that aren't ready, which they view as just noise.
Right.
And that's just the truth. So we would much rather represent people who are ready, because then you don't get mad at us.
Right.
We've done our part. So you win because we're protecting you. The production houses win because they're hearing from pros. Wow. That's important.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why we capped it. It would take an angel with a flaming sword at the foot of my bed to increase the size of this thing. I'm telling you, be like, add more. No.
So you have 100 seats. 5 of those are for the top.
Yeah. Well,
package?
that's a huge email campaign.
Yeah.
And 3 of those are taken, and we're at 29 of the other seats are full.
29 of which seats? Of the 100 seats.
Of
No.
the 100
Well, you've got
seats
100 and then you've
for
got
the whole system.
So 95, 29 of 95
Are gone.
taken. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So that's the system that we have, and we do Zoom calls with everybody as well. So we don't just let you buy.
Mm-hmm.
We want to meet with you.
You have your discovery call.
Sure. We want to, and it's free, and the review of your stuff is free, and we can give you pointers, and we can point to coaching, and we can point to all this stuff.
Yeah.
Anything to get you ready, and that doesn't cost you a dime.
Right.
And one of the things that seems to be missing in our industry, and I'm sure you would agree, we don't get a lot of feedback. And I hate delivering bad news, but I'm not afraid to. You're not quite ready. You need this and this.
Yeah.
And here's some resources that can get you there.
Right.
So that's what we've done.
That's amazing. I think it's fantastic, too, that you're limiting it so that way you can focus and give solid attention to the folks that qualify. You're vetting voiceover talent to be able to use the service, service to begin with. And that's great. So it's not just any, Tom, Dick, or Harry can just sign up, you know?
Right. Yeah. And it's important. We just won't do that to folks.
Because there are a lot of people that enter the business, like you mentioned, too, and they have a misconception of what it's like to be a voice talent. And they think, well, I got a microphone and I have a great voice, and so I should be able to do this. And then I have to burst the bubble and go, no, this is a business. Are you okay running your own business?
Right. Exactly. That's exactly right.
What do you mean? I'm like, it's not like the old days when I first moved to New York. My agent took care of everything, you know? Now it's like, no, you need to be comfortable with audio production. You need to be comfortable. You have to have a beautiful sounding studio. It doesn't have to look pretty, but it's got to sound good. And then you got to take care, because they're like, well, can you help me find voiceover jobs? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's hysterical. No, this is not how it works, but that's the difficult
service.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm glad that you and I have met, because that'll definitely be something that I have a voiceover gurus community that I love. It's my baby. And I always put in their recommended services. So I'm going to definitely list you in there.
Well, here's what's important is that we've created a code for you folks.
Oh.
That if anybody uses this code, they'll get 25 free leads in their first month of their subscription.
Oh, how
so
nice.
If they pick a subscription of any size at either platform, they'll get 25 free leads on top of, if VO leads, they get 10 free to begin. So they get 35. And that code, you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
It's just VO Gurus.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So if they use your code, they will get 25 free leads.
Free leads.
Or added to either their VO Inbox campaign, their first month.
For either.
Or added to their first month of their campaign of their subscription at VO Leads.
VO Leads. Oh, that's
a
wonderful.
mouthful. But yeah. You can tell I speak for a living.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm sure my students will as well. Thank you so much, Jonathon. This was very informative.
You're very welcome, and anytime.
Yeah, this is great. Well, that wraps up another informative, educational, and beneficial episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Head over to our website, voiceover.guru. Join the community. I was just talking about my community and how much I love it and the wonderful people there. It is a free community, so join us. But again, just head to the website and you'll also find our workouts and everything else that we offer. Thank you again, Jonathon, okay?
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody have a good rest of your day.